Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is day 2 for .NET Zero to Hero series. In the first day we discuss about what is .NET. We discuss about the IL code, then CLS, CTS and just-in-time compiler. And also we discuss about the .NET framework and when .NET Core introduced in 2016, what was the difference between .NET Core and .NET Framework. So today we are going to discuss about the basically main difference of procedural programming language and object-oriented programming language. So and also we will see what is a class. We will discuss about the static keywords, namespace, and we will create one hello.NET, our first C# program. So before we begin, what I want is we need one IDE to work on our .NET applications, that is called Visual Studio. So you can go to this link visualstudio.microsoft.com/downloads, and here we are having a different version. So if you are a student and learning it, so you don't need to buy it, you can simply download this community edition. It is freely available. You can download this and we can once it is downloaded, you can simply install it. So once Visual Studio is installed in your machine, you can verify it. You can go to your programs and here you can search for Visual Studio. You should see this here in your program list, and we are going to use this ID in upcoming video. Today we are not going to use it, so just verify this. It's already installed in your machine, and then in upcoming videos we are going to use this. But I just want to make sure we have installed the Visual Studio. So now I hope you have installed the Visual Studio. Now we can come back to our day 2 discussion, which is saying like what is the difference between procedural programming approach versus object-oriented programming approach. So let me open the so I will draw it for better understanding. Let me open this. So basically procedural programming approach is like program in the procedural programming approach also program is a collection of members which is like variables and functions, and that is called from main method, because main method is a entry point for any program. Whereas in object oriented program also program is a collection of functions and variables. But the difference, like in procedural programming also it is a collection of functions and members variables. In object oriented programming approach also it is a collection of functions and members. But the difference is in object oriented programming approach we are having one more wrapper. We call that wrapper is a class. So let me draw it. So what I am saying, in procedural programming languages, a program so I'm saying program is a collection of variables and functions, that is a members, right? So collection of members which could be variables or functions. So let's say so here we have members. This could be like variables and function. So we call this as a procedural programming approach. So let me say But when we talk about the object-oriented programming approach, let me copy this. So basically, we are saying even object-oriented programming approach also, we are having this members, which is having variable and functions. But let me keep this out for now. But we are having one more wrapper, so let me try to add this here. And let me try to expand it a bit. We are saying we are in object-oriented approach, we are having one wrapper that is called class. And this class will contains all this, let me, your variables and functions. So in procedural programming approach, we don't have this wrapper, but in object-oriented programming approach, we are having this object. We are having this wrapper class, wrapper called class. Let me even change the color of this for better visibility. Yeah. So this is the only difference we are having in the procedural programming approach and object-oriented programming approach. Now, definitely you will ask like, what is a class? So let me keep it aside and let me open this here. So basically, class is a blueprint, or I will say a plan. So, for example, you are making a plan to create a vehicle. Okay, so class I am saying it is a blueprint or a plan. Okay, so suppose if you are making a plan for vehicle, so what will you think like what are the attributes, what are the things you should have in the your vehicle? So maybe you will say number of wheels, number two maybe color, and number three maybe type like sedan or XUV. So with this class, you can create a plan, you can create a blueprint, but this class will not be a actual car, right? It is just a plan. But there's a one more thing, we call it as an object. So object is an instance of a object is an instance of a class. So object here I am saying like class is not real, right? Class is like let me reduce the font. So I'm saying class is not real, it is a blueprint, it is a plan, but object is real. Object is actual car. So then now for this vehicle class, when you will create object, you will say object of vehicle class. You will say number of wheels equals to 4. Maybe you will say color equals to blue, and then maybe you will say type equals to XUV. And another, maybe you will create another object, another instance, and you will say, I will say object2 of vehicle class, and you will here you will say wheel again 4, maybe color instead of blue you will say red, and this time instead of XUV you are saying sedan. So now we understand, right? Class is a blueprint or plan, and we saw like plan of the vehicles which could have attributes like number of wheels, colors, and types. And when we create an object is nothing but an instance of the class, and that could be a real vehicle. We saw like we can have object of class vehicle class, and it could have the four wheels, color blue, XUV type is XUV, in another object of vehicle class again, and it could have four wheels, color red, and type sedan. So don't worry if you don't understand now. We are going to go through this again when we will talk about the OOPS concept. So we will talk a lot about the class, but if you don't understand now, that is also fine, because at one time maybe it is not easy to digest, so that is fine. So now we have discussed about class, so it's time to create our first program and first class. We are going to create a simple class which will just display a message like hello YouTube. So I hope you have installed Visual Studio, because once you will install the Visual Studio, uh, that will install the required stuffs like .NET Framework and SDK, etc. So I hope you have installed the Visual Studio, and once you will install the Visual Studio, just open your program files, navigate to the Visual Studio folder, and here you can see under the Visual Studio 2022 folder, you can see developer command prompt. Just right click on it, select more, and run as administrator. So we are opening this Visual Studio developer tool as an admin instance. Now let me minimize this and open the notepad. We are going to create our first program, first class in the notepad. So we are not going to use IDE this time. So just open the notepad, and we are going to create a class, right? So if you are creating a class in a .NET, it should start with the keyword class. So I will say class, then space, and then I need to give the name of the class. So what could be the name of the class? Whatever you feel you can give it. Uh, so maybe I am saying hello YouTube. And also when we discuss about the difference between the procedural programming language and object-oriented programming approach, we saw like under object-oriented programming approach, members are wrapped inside the class, right? Members is nothing but like variables and functions are wrapped inside the class. So we need to do same thing here. So to wrap members and functions inside the class, we need to in C sharp we need to open this curly bracket and close this curly brackets. And inside this curly brackets, whatever I will declare variables and functions, that will be part of that class. Now also we discussed like program is having one entry point, and we call that method as a main method. So let's create an entry point for our hello YouTube, because once we will create an entry point, then from entry point we will display a message like hello YouTube. So let me type here public. What is this public? I will tell you when we will discuss about the access specifier. So don't worry about that now. Then static. What is this static? We are going to discuss in some time. So just type along with me. What is this void also? I will tell you in some times. And then we need to give the method name. So we are saying like main method, right? Main method is a entry point. And we need to open and close this bracket for the method, main methods, and then again we need to wrap that method under the curly bracket. So we are defining the scope of this method. So this opening and closing curly bracket is a scope of this main method. And under this main method, we are going to print hello YouTube. So to print hello YouTube, we are going to use one existing console class which is having a write line method which will write under the console. So that will write and print whatever the message we want to display. So I will say system dot console dot write line, and I am saying like hello YouTube. And now we can save this. So I created this .NET Zero to Hero series folder, and at that time I will save it as a first. And we are writing this program in C# language. So C# is having extension .cs. So I will say cs, and I will save this. So now we have this first.cs. Now let's copy the path of this folder, and we have opened this Visual Studio Developer command prompt, right? So let's navigate to this path. Let me clear this. So here you can see we are having this first.cs file, right? And I am at this location. Let me again clear this. Now, when we discuss about in first video, right? Each language is having their language compiler, which compile this code to IL code. So C# is also having C# language compiler, which is CSC, and then I can give the name of the file. So we have given, if you will see here, we have given first.cs. So let me type first.cs, and here if you will observe, we are having only this one file now, right? Now let me hit enter. So if you are having any typo or any keyword or any exceptions, compile time exceptions, so it will visible here. Then you can see the exceptions and you can fix that in your file. So after successful execution, if you will observe, earlier we were having only first.cs file, but now there is a one more uh, file is generated, that is first.exe. So this exe is nothing but it contains the IL code, right? Intermediate language code, uh, which is generated through language compiler. And when we will execute this exe, then through JIT, which is a part of CLR, will execute this exe and convert it to native code, machine code. So now let me run this. So let's clear this. Here, if you will see, now we are having two files, first.cs and first.exe, and we are going to run this exe file self-executable. It is a self-executable file. So I just need to type here first, and if I will hit enter, you can see a message like hello YouTube. But now, what does this exe? Let me try to cover this as well. So basically there are two types. One is exe, which we saw it is generated recently, and another other one is a DLL. Exe is executable, and DLL we call it as a dynamic link library. So difference is like exe and DLL both contains functions, variables, or I will say resources. If both contains functions, variable, or I will say resources, then why we need DLL? And what is the difference between exe and DLL? And it is a very common interview question as well. So as I mentioned, exe is self executable. It execute a program. But when we talk about DLL, DLL is not self executable, and the DLL contains the resources, but we can use we can use this DLL in other program. So in other words, I can say we can share the resources with the help of DLL. So DLL itself is not executable, but we can share these resources. We can share our resource to another program with the help of DLL. So that is the main difference between DLL and exe. Now we have discussed about procedural programming and object-oriented programming approach difference. We have discussed about the class, and we have created our first C# program. Two things which is pending is static keyword and namespace. Namespace maybe because this video is getting very long, so maybe I will cover in the next video. And but let's discuss about the static keyword. So let me open the program which we created. So here we can see this static, right? And we are going to talk about this. But before this, let me tell you the problem. Like when we talk about the C++, so in C++, we are having this main method, right? So as we already discussed, like main method is a entry point of any program. So in C++, we are having the classes, but this main method is not part of the classes. We are keeping that this main method outside of this class, because when we talk about the class and the object, so we need to create an instance of the class, then only we can use that class, right? So, but as this is an entry point, so uh, we cannot wait to create an instance, right? So to resolve this in C++, uh, they designed to keep this main method outside of the class. But then the discussion came like it is not a fully object-oriented program, right? Because when we discuss about the difference between the procedural programming language and object-oriented programming language, we saw like in object-oriented programming languages, we are having our resources, our members inside of the class, but in C++ we are keeping it outside of the class because uh, without creating an instance, we want to call the main method. So later Java they introduce the keyword which is static keyword, and it says like if any members is prefixed with static keyword, then we don't need to create an instance of that class. Directly we can call that method. Similar to the C++ when we are defining outside of the class. So instead of defining it outside of the class, we can decorate that member. It could be a method, it could be even variable with static keywords, and then we can use without creating an instance of that class, we can
call that method. So that is the reason we are having this static keyword inside this main method. And this void is the return type of the method. There could be a different return types of the method that we will discuss maybe in upcoming videos. So before I end this second part of this video, let me give one homework for you. So you just need to create a same program, but instead of hello YouTube, maybe you can write multiple lines. In one line, maybe you can print one star, and another line with some space. You need to, create a two stars like this. Let me try to increase the font size. Then third line will be maybe three stars. Then again two, and then one star. So try to print this stars. There's no logic is needed, just simple string with some white space. You can achieve this pattern, right? You just need to give some white space and you can prepare this stars. So create a program, try with that, and in the comment sections let me know if you are able to print it or not, you are able to generate your exe or not. And even if you're not, if you're getting any issues, just add your comments and I will try to answer that in my next upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.